My roommate is dead. On Monday night, I heard a loud thud. I didn't know what it was. I was sitting on the couch when I heard the thud. I asked my roommate if anything was wrong, but she didn't answer. Her door was shut, but I respected her privacy. I mean, she's quiet though, very shy, so I didn't ask again. I didn't want to be a pest. I was waiting to see if I heard another thud. I mean, I figured she was moving things around in her room, you know? Things happen. People drop furniture. Furniture makes a thud. After about 5 minutes, I heard a voice say help. Like in a whisper. Sort of like it was a strain to say it. I mean, it could have been a voice on the TV. I wasn't really sure. And I wasn't going to call the police. You see, I don't make outgoing calls, and I screen incoming calls. I order my groceries online, and I slide a note under the door that says to knock 3 times so I have enough time to get into the bathroom and close the door before they come in and collect the money. I mean, I can't be in the kitchen or the living room when the front door is open. So I couldn't call 911, because they bust the door down before I had time to get into the bathroom and close the door. They can't be trusted to wait until I get into the bathroom. They come in flashing their sirens and waving all their lights around. And people like that can't be trusted for a minute. And anyways, I didn't hear anybody else say help again, so I didn't have to worry about calling anybody.
I hate the nurse with the red hair. You know, the young one who works the day shift. I hate her. You know, she slapped me yesterday, backhanded me right across the face. All I said was, I don't want to take the damn pill, and then she hit me. I was bare hand off. If I'd been quicker, I could have gotten a couple of fingers in my mouth. You know what? Next time, I'll be ready. I'll leave teeth marks on our hand. I've been practicing. It's kind of practicing and kind of an alternative form of revenge. It's a voodoo doll. See? She used her hand to hurt me, so I'll use the voodoo to hurt her. In my book about voodoo, it says to always use a needle. But I can't find one. I had one. I stole it from the arts and crafts when we were stringing beads for friendship necklaces. But the nurse took it. Not the nurse with the red hair. The other one. The one who wears too much eyeshadow. I don't like her either. I don't like any of the nurses. I hate them. I hate them all. Except for the one who gave me extra cake last week. I like her. I like her a lot. I like cake. I like cake a lot. I want cake now. Cake. Bake, take. Take cake. I want cake! I want cake! I want cake! I want cake!
My boss does not wash his hands after he uses the restroom. That's not speculation. That's a fact. I've had my suspicions about him for a while now. I suspected. I presumed. My office is directly across from the men's room. I can hear what goes on in there. I can tell when the water's running. I can hear when someone uses a hand dryer. And my boss does not run water and does not use the hand dryer. The other day he came from the restroom and reached straight into the candy jar on my desk. He doesn't even use hand sanitizer. He looked up at me and said,
Am I the only person who's disturbed by ballpark franks? Why they plump when you cook them? I don't like the idea of food that plumps when you cook it. What's keeping it from continuing to plump after you eat it? If they put a chemical inside the plumping food to make it plump, does it get deactivated by saliva or stomach acid? When does it deflate? There has to be something that makes it deflate, else everyone who's ever eaten a ballpark frank will be walking around in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade like a balloon. And eventually, they'd pop, and all the stuffing will fall out everywhere, like when you pop a zit, and it splatters on the mirror. Stuffing is fascinating. It's interesting. Stuffed chicken breast, crab legs, stuffed with cheese, stuffed mushrooms, stuffed animals. I had a stuffed animal once. Not recently. Not in years. Well, maybe once since I was little. That's because I'd had a very bad day. And I need some snuggle love. Yes, that's a word. Snuggle love is a word. The stuffing was red, so I thought that was really appropriate, because it looked like blood. All the other ones were either light blue, or brown. Frankly, they were a letdown, a disappointment after the red stuffing.
We were driving along and everything was fine. I was driving. Carolyn and Marcy, they're my friends, were with me. Carolyn was in the front seat and Marcy was in the back seat behind me. Marcy's friend, Michelle, was sitting in the back seat behind Carolyn. We were driving along and talking. We weren't doing anything crazy. It was raining, so I was being extra safe. I'm a good driver. I'm a very good driver. So we were driving along, and Carolyn starts putting on some strawberry lip gloss. And all of a sudden, Michelle starts screaming, "I'm allergic to strawberries! I'm allergic to strawberries!" And Carolyn's like, "It's strawberry lip gloss. It's strawberry lip gloss. It's not like I'm smearing strawberries all over your face." But she kept screaming, "I'm allergic to strawberries. I'm allergic to strawberries." The windshield wipers were going back and forth, and Michelle was screaming in the back seat, and Marcy was trying to calm her down, and Carolyn was growling like a dog. And I was like, "Shut up!" The rain started raining harder. Michelle was hyperventilating in the back seat, so I looked in my rearview mirror to make sure she wasn't passing out or anything. Then we slid off the road. We hit a telephone pole and spun around. The car hydroplaned. Hydroplane. It sounds like it ought to be a plane that lands in water. The ones that have pontoons. Pontoons. Like pawns set to music. Pontoons. Where was I? Pontoons. Hydroplane. The car hydroplaned. That's what they said, at least. The people in the car behind us. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was laying in a puddle all wet. I don't like being in wet clothes. They didn't wake up, Carolyn, Marcy, and Michelle. They didn't wake up. We were all wearing our seatbelts, but mine popped open and I was ejected. I was ejected, but they weren't. They got crushed. Plus, Carolyn got kind of impaled by a mile marker.
I said no. No, I didn't want him to take me home. I was tired and I had a headache. That's all. I wasn't dizzy or anything. It was just a headache. It wasn't even a migraine. It was just a headache. But he insisted. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Jason was like that. He always got his way with Melanie. She's my best friend and Jason's her boyfriend. It's usually the girl who can get her way with a guy, but Jason always got his way. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. So, I said, okay, you can take me home. He'd been to my apartment 100 times before with Melanie, so he knew the way. But instead of going the way that I would have, he went a roundabout kind of way that made no sense. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to get into an argument about who knew the best way to get to my apartment. I had a headache. Nobody wants to get into an argument with a headache. And I didn't want to get into an argument with my best friend's boyfriend, so I didn't say anything. When we pulled up into the parking lot of my apartment complex, he said, "I'll walk you up to your apartment." I told him he didn't have to, but he said he wanted to be a gentleman. I said, no thank you. I don't need an escort to my apartment, really. I'm a big girl. But he insisted. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. So he opened up the car door for me and helped me out of the car like we were on some kind of date. And he took my arm and walked me to my apartment. I took my keys out of my purse. But then he took them from me, and he started to unlock the door. No, I said, I could do it. I can unlock the door. I don't need your help. But before I was finished telling him I could do it myself, we were inside. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
My fans love me. They send me flowers and presents and pictures of themselves and their pets. On my last tour, we sold out stadiums, giant outdoor stadiums, in 10 different cities in less than 4 hours. It was some kind of Ticketmaster record. Everywhere I go, people are always calling my name. And photographers are stalking me. I love my fans, but I hate the paparazzi. They invade my personal space. A picture of me in torn sweatpants and a tank top with a mustard stain got sold to one of those tabloids for $2 million. And think how much good that money could have done for the world. Starving people could have been fed. Sick people could have gotten medication. Children with crooked teeth could have gotten braces. One smile at a time. That's how you change the world. Hundreds of my fans have named their children after me. And not just girls. There are dozens of little boys named Tracy running around out there in the world. Another 100 or so have named their pets after me. My fans, they send me pictures. And on the back they write, "This is my cat Tracy. Tracy loves you. Tracy loves Tracy." Sometimes they're dogs, not cats. There have even been some birds, hamsters, ferrets, turtles, and snakes named Tracy. All those Tracys love Tracy too. My fans love me. They love me. My fan club has an official website for me and my music, and it gets thousands of hits every day. People from all over the world visit my website. I'm not just a star in the United States, I'm an international star. I'm an international star with fans all over the world. And they love me. They send me flowers and presents and pictures of themselves and their pets. On my last tour, we sold stadiums, giant outdoor stadiums, in 10 different cities in less than 4 hours. And everywhere I go, people are always calling my name.
I've got to go back home. I've got to go back home. If I can get back home, everything will be fine. If I tell you my address, can you help me find my home? My house is green with pink. It has a tree with blue branches. I've got to get back home.
I hate the nurse with the red hair. The young one who works day shift. You know, she slapped me. She slapped me right across the face yesterday. I mean, what's wrong with her? All I said was, I don't want to take the damn pill. And then she slapped me. I was bare handoff. If I had been quicker, I could have gotten a couple of her fingers in my mouth. Next time, I'll be ready. I'll leave teeth marks on her hand.
I said no! No, I didn't want him to take me home. I was tired and I had a headache. That's all. I wasn't dizzy or anything, it was just a headache. It wasn't even a migraine, it was just a headache. But he insisted. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Jason was like that. He always got his way with Melanie. She's my best friend, Jason's her boyfriend. It's usually the girl who can get her way with a guy. But Jason always got his way. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
My boss does not wash his hands after he uses the restroom. That's not speculation. That's a fact. I've had my suspicions on him for a while now. I've suspected. I've presumed. My office is directly across from the men's room. I can hear what goes on in there. I can tell when the water's running. I can hear when someone uses the hand dryer. And my boss never runs water and never uses the hand dryer. The other day he came from the restroom and reached straight into the candy jar on my desk. He dug his hands way down into the M&Ms. And I've never even seen him use hand sanitizer. He dug his hands way down into the M&Ms, his unwashed, undried, unclean hands, and looked at me and said,
Is anyone else disturbed by ballpark franks? Why they plump when you cook them? I don't like the idea of food that plumps when you cook it. What's keeping it from continuing to plump after you eat it? If they put a chemical inside the plumping food to make it plump, does it get deactivated by saliva or stomach acid? When does it deflate? There has to be something that makes it deflate. else everyone who's ever eaten a ballpark drink would be walking around in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade like a balloon. And eventually, they would pop, and all the stuffing would fly out everywhere. And like when you pop a zit, and it splatters on the mirror. That thing is fascinating. It's interesting. Stuffed chicken breast, pasta shell stuffed with cheese, stuffed mushrooms, stuffed animals.
We were driving along and everything was fine. I was driving. Carolyn and Marcy, they're my friends, were with me. Karen was in the front seat and Marcy was in the back seat behind me. Marcy's friend, Michelle, was sitting in the back seat next behind Carolyn. We were driving along and talking. We weren't doing anything crazy. It was raining, so I was being extra safe. I'm a good driver. I'm a very good driver. So we were driving along and Carolyn started putting on some lip gloss and Michelle started screaming, "I'm allergic to strawberries. I'm allergic to strawberries." And Carolyn was like, "It's lip gloss. It's strawberry lip gloss. It's not like I'm smearing strawberries all over your face." But Michelle kept screaming, "I'm allergic to strawberries. I'm allergic to strawberries."
My roommate is dead. On Monday night, I heard a loud thud. I was sitting on the sofa when I heard the thud. I didn't know what it was. I asked her if she was alright, and there was no answer. Her door was shut, and I didn't open it. I respected her privacy. Well, she's quiet, very shy, so I wasn't gonna ask again. I didn't want to be a pest.
My fans love me. They love me. They send me flowers and presents and pictures of themselves and their pets. On my last tour, we showed out stadiums, giant outdoor stadiums, in 10 different cities in less than 4 hours. And everywhere I go, people are always calling my name.
So I said, okay, you can take me home. He'd been to my apartment 100 times before, so he knew the way. But instead of going the way that I would have, he went a roundabout kind of way that made no sense. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to get into an argument about who knew the best way to get to my apartment. And I had a headache. Nobody wants to get into an argument when they have a headache. Besides, it's not a good idea to get into an argument with your best friend's boyfriend. So I didn't say anything. When he pulled up into the parking lot of my apartment complex, he said I'll walk you up to your apartment. I told him he didn't have to. But he said he wanted to be a gentleman. And I said, no, thank you. I don't need an escort to my apartment. Really. I'm a good girl. But he insisted. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
And that's not the first time he's done it. He's violated my candy jar too many times to count, and every time I have to throw it away. I'm not going to have unclean candy sitting on my desk. That's how it happened, you know? The pregnancy. Not from the unclean candy, no, that was an immaculate conception. He didn't touch me, but he had unclean thoughts about me. And that's how I became pregnant. 11 months ago. That's when it happened.
The windshield wipers were going back and forth, and Michelle was screaming in the back seat, and Marcy was trying to calm her down, and Carolyn was growling like a dog. And I was like, shut up!
I've been practicing. It's kind of practicing and kind of an alternative form of revenge. It's a voodoo doll. See, she used her hand to hurt me, So I'll use the voodoo to hurt her.
It started raining harder. Michelle was hyperventilating in the back seat, and Carolyn was trying to calm her down, so I looked in my rearview mirror to make sure she wasn't passing out or anything. The car slid off the road. We hit a telephone pole and spun around. The car hydroplaned. Hydroplane. It sounds like it ought to be a plane that lands on water. The ones that have pontoons. Pontoons. Like pawns set to music. Where was I? Pontoons. Hydroplane. The car hydroplaned.
I had a stuffed animal once. Not recently. Not in years. Well, maybe once since I was little. That's because I was having a very bad day. And he was some Snuggle Love. Yes, that's a word. Snuggle Love is a word.
Hundreds of my fans have named their children after me, and not just girls. There are dozens of little boys named Tracy running around out there in the world. Another 100 saw me and their pets after me. My fans, they send me pictures, and on the back they write, "This is my cat Tracy. Tracy loves you. Tracy loves Tracy." Sometimes they're dogs, not cats. There have even been some birds, hamsters, ferrets, turtles, and snakes named Tracy. All those Tracys love Tracy too.
My little sister has a bunch of stuffed teddy bears. I think all teddy bears are stuffed. I don't think there are actual bears in the wilderness called teddy bears. I think that's what makes it a teddy bear, is that it's a stuffed animal bear. My sister has a lot of stuffed animals. I used to do operations on her stuffed animals. It was the first one that I cut into that had the red stuffing. All the other ones were either brown or light blue. Frankly, all the other ones were a letdown, a disappointment, after the red stuffing.
After about 5 minutes, I heard a voice saying help, in a sort of a whisper, like it was a strain to say it. I mean, maybe it just could have been a voice on the TV. I wasn't really sure.
I don't like any of the nurses. I hate them. I hate them all. Except for the one who gave me extra cake last week. I like her. I like her a lot. I like cake. I like cake a lot. I want cake now. I want cake now. I want cake now.
He was insistent. He insisted. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
They didn't wake up. Carolyn, Marcy, and Michelle. They didn't wake up. We all had our seatbelts on, but mine popped open and I was ejected. I was ejected, but they weren't. They got crushed. Plus, Carolyn got kind of impaled by a mile marker.
So he opened up the car door for me and held me out of the car like we were on some kind of date. And he took my arm and walked me to my apartment. I took my keys out of my purse and I started to unlock the door, but then he took them from me. And before I was finished telling him I could do it myself, we were inside. He was insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
Door, floor, score, whore.
They kept calling my house. Carolyn's mother wanted to know what we were talking about just before the accident. I don't think it would give her mother peace of mind to know that her daughter was arguing about strawberry lip gloss. Marcy's dad called and left these awful voicemails talking about how I should feel guilty about what I'd done. That his daughter was dead and I got to keep on living. I did. I felt guilty. I feel guilty. Michelle's family were the worst. They left boxes of smashed and mangled Hot Wheel cars and index cards filled with boxes filled with index cards that read "Killer." All of them, every one, killer. I am not a killer. I didn't make it rain. I didn't make the car hydroplane, and I for sure didn't argue about anybody's strawberry lip gloss. When the insurance check came back, I went out and bought a new car. The car in the accident was totaled. No surprise there. It was bright red. Beautiful. So I went out and I drove. Midnight. Something comforting about the darkness. I drove to Michelle's family's house and heaved the smashed Hot Wheels through their windows and spray painted "Killer" on their lawn. Some little 9-year-old girl saw me across the street and called the police. I don't know how she saw me. I'm invisible.
I just wanted to go to sleep. I was tired and I had a headache and I just wanted to go to sleep. Whenever I have a headache, a nap or a good night's sleep makes it go away. Sleep does the trick. Sleep makes it go away.
A cookie makes it all better.
But Jason didn't want to leave.
I want cookies.
And he grabbed my wrist and he said,
I want cookies.
I said, no, I don't know what you want.
I want cookies.
And he wouldn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He just did it. And the whole time I was saying no, I was screaming it, no, stop. But he wouldn't listen. And his mouth was open like he was going to say something. And then he started to drool on me. And his mouth was open the whole time. And he started mumbling to himself. I couldn't really understand what he was saying. Because from that position, I couldn't see his face. I could just hear the mumbling.
I always dip my cookies in Diet Pepsi. They're good that way. They're way better that way than when you dip them in milk. Don't diss Diet Pepsi. Cookies and Diet Pepsi rocks. You just haven't tried it yet. Diet Pepsi rocks. And cookies rocks. I'm gonna get a whole plate of cookies and a giant glass of Diet Pepsi, and we're gonna have a party, and you can't do anything about it.
I was outside my body and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't.
I just want a whole plate of cookies. I just want cookies. Give me some cookies.
I felt like I'd been run over by a truck, except for my head. My headache was gone, and without a nap or a good night's sleep, I just lay on the floor staring up at the ceiling for hours. I felt like my body was able to levitate a few inches off the ground, like it just lifted up and started floating all by itself. I knew I had to tell Melanie what happened, what Jason did to me. We've been friends, best friends, since forever. I knew she'd be so worried and that it would upset her, and she'd feel so guilty that it was her boyfriend who did it. The numbness in my body was starting to wear off. It was like getting a shot of Novocaine at the dentist and it starts to wear off. My whole body felt like that. I took a bath. I filled it up with hot water and bubbles, lavender and vanilla body salts. And I fell asleep. I could have drowned. People fall asleep in bathtubs all the time and drown. But I didn't. I just fell asleep, got all wrinkly, and smelled like lavender and vanilla. By the next time I called Melanie to come over, it was the next day. It was only 10 hours, but it felt like a week had gone by. I called her over and she came, and we talked. I told her what happened. She didn't believe me. Nobody did. Nobody believed me. I told my mom and my friends and my sister, and no one believed me. Some of them laughed. They laughed like it was funny, at the most upsetting parts. And I just looked at them, and I wanted to ask, don't you feel awkward laughing at me in the middle of me telling you what happened to me? I'm not lying. I wasn't lying then, I'm not lying now. It happened, and Jason did it, and I saw it happen because I was a witness, and I was there. It happened. It happened, and you'll believe me. I'll make you, and I won't take no for an answer.
Call the doctor. Somebody, call the doctor.
I love doing operations on my little sister's teddy bear.
The baby's coming.
I used to do operations on my little sister's teddy bears. It was the first one I cut into that had the red stuffing. All the other ones were brown or light blue. Frankly, all the other ones were a letdown, a disappointment after the red stuffing. I also did a transplant, well, something like a transplant, on one of my sister's teddy bears, where I removed the original stuffing and got some other stuffing from my dryer. My dryer produces an excessive amount of drying. Sometimes it's even overflowing with lint. One time, I put a travel alarm clock in one of my sister's teddy bears, and she thought it was a bomb, so she dropped it in the bathtub. She watched a movie where they put a bomb inside of and they had a bomb and put it in the ocean to keep it from wiping out the entire city's population.
The baby's coming.
I waited to see if there was another thud. I mean, she could have been moving furniture, and maybe it would have slipped out of her hand. Things happen. People drop furniture. Furniture makes a thud.
I've been carrying this baby for 11 months. 11 months is a long time to be pregnant. Babies are supposed to come out after 10 months, Some people will tell you it's 9, but they lie.
I'm not lying.
They lie about washing their hands. They lie about liking your dress. And they lie about how long you're supposed to be pregnant before the baby comes out. It's due any day now. And now, it's time. Why am I here all alone? Where are the M&Ms? I've had my suspicions. I've suspected. I've presumed. My office is directly across from the men's room. I can hear what goes on in there. I can tell when the water's running. I can hear when someone uses a hand dryer. And my boss does not wash his hands. He comes from the men's room, reaches straight into the candy jar on my desk. He digs his hands way down into the M&Ms. He digs way down into the bowl with his unclean hands. He is unclean. Oh no. Oh my goodness. No. Where's the baby? Where's my baby? There's no baby. What happened to my baby? Who took my baby? If someone took my baby, please give it back to me. It's my baby. My baby. What happened to my baby?
I'm sure my fans have named the children after me too. And not just girls. There are dozens of little boys named Tracy running around out there in the world.
What happened to my baby? Who took my baby? Can somebody help me? Can anybody help me?